Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here, and if that's the case, I'm really glad to have you here. Today's video is one that I am super excited about because I've been wanting to do another Showdown style video ever since my last one, which was a while ago now, on self-tanners, but I haven't really known which category I wanted to tackle next until I was walking up and down the aisles at the drugstore recently. I was looking around and I realized that I think I've literally tried 90% of the mascaras at the drugstore, and that is on the low end of a guess. Maybe closer to 95, truly, because when I was growing up and I would run out of mascara, I would just buy a brand new one to try that I had never tried before because I thought it was super fun. So I feel like I have a thing or two to say about this category, and I picked 8 different mascaras here from brands like Maybelline, L'Oreal, CoverGirl, Essence, that have been really highly raved about over the years that I have also tried previously and really enjoyed, because I wanted to make sure we were actually comparing the best of the best, you know, not including anything that was not good, because that doesn't help us to find the best. So I apply all of these mascaras on camera with both 1 and 2 coats, and we'll talk through things like how well they add volume and lengthen and separate the lashes, the formulation, everything that really matters when it comes to a mascara. And yes, I did rank all of these mascaras according to those categories so that we can actually find the very best ones. So if that's of interest to you, you've come to the right spot. We're gonna jump right into that. But before we do, for those of you that are new here, my name's Abby, and I'm basically obsessed with all things beauty. So I really like to do reviews like this for you guys. I research skincare and hair care like a crazy person, and I share a lot of those things here on my channel. So if all of that sounds right up your alley, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Those things really help to support me and make sure that my videos are actually recommended to others. So thank you so much for doing that. Your support means the world, and definitely come hang out with me on Instagram and TikTok. My username is Abby Young on those platforms too, which is right here. All right, let's jump into this video. So we're gonna start off with last place here. So this is a mascara that out of all of these I think is the worst, even though again, I don't think any of these are bad mascaras. I think that they're all good, but actually last place and second to last place are mascaras that I used to use and really enjoy but stopped purchasing. And now I'm remembering why, because I found things that I think now are so much better, even though again, these are really good. So in last place, we have the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. So this wand is a natural wand with really soft bristles, and it actually has a slight curve to it. So the original L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara is just a straight wand, but I actually always prefer curved ones like this if there is an option for it, because they add such nice lift to the lash. They just give a flirtier, slightly more curled effect. So that is a little hot tip. If you feel like your lashes just kind of fall flat, try a mascara with a curved wand. And then for all of those specific categories that I talked about in the intro, I actually gave this the same ranking across the board, which is a 3 out of 5. So formulation is a 3 out of 5 because it's a little bit too dry for me. There's definitely a happy medium when it comes to a formulation. If something is too dry, then it just doesn't add enough to the lash, doesn't give the lash enough to kind of build on. But on the other hand, if it's too wet, then the lash clumps easily and doesn't lengthen and separate well. So while it's not a bad formula, it is a little bit too dry in my opinion. And then I think this adds a decent amount of length, separation, and volume, which is why I give it a 3 out of 5 there for all those categories. So overall, average, nothing bad. I think it's good, but it's not outstanding in the way that some of these other mascaras are in my opinion. So L'Oreal Voluminous gets last place. In 7th place, we have the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume Mascara. This was a blast from the past, literally. Oh my gosh, I used to be obsessed with CoverGirl Lash Blast in high school. I think through college too, but I'll explain why I stopped purchasing in a second. So this has a really largest wand out of all of these. Plastic wand with pretty short bristles that kind of taper towards the tip of the wand. The bristles pretty much disappear, but even still, the longest bristle pretty short, and that is kind of a problem with the size of this wand. Because it's so long and the bristles are shorter, it does make it really easy to get smudges on the lid. So if you typically have a problem with that with any other mascara, then I would just stay away from this one to begin with, because it's really easy to get messy with. This formulation, I think it's the worst. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, which is the worst score actually out of any category for this whole video, because it is so dry. And as I was applying it, I remembered that that is exactly why I stopped buying these mascaras, because they dry up so quickly. So while it's not a major issue for the first few applications, this dries up so fast, and I used to have to repurchase these way too often, so I just stopped repurchasing altogether. But aside from the formulation, I would say everything else is pretty average too. I also gave the length 3 out of 5, definitely doesn't add a crazy amount, but it's not too bad. And for volume here and separation, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 for both of those. I think it's a little bit better than the L'Oreal mascara, which makes sense because it has a plastic wand, but still nothing amazing for this mascara. Number 6 is the Maybelline The Falsies Lash Lift Mascara. This wand is also a natural wand, and it has kind of a slight tapering in the center, so it has 2 ends that are larger and then it divots a little bit in the middle. Very similar to the Better Than Sex mascara wand, so kind of another copycat of that. This formula I also think is a little bit too dry, and I feel that this would perform so much better if it was just a hair on the wetter side, but I give the formula 3 out of 5 and similar rankings for all of the other categories too. So for length, I actually think it adds a little bit more length than the first two. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. About a 3 for volume because it actually doesn't add that much volume in my opinion compared to some other mascaras that are similar to this. And separation, I would give a 3.5 out of 5 because it's not super clumpy, but not the most separated either. Do I think that this is actually better than the Better Than Sex mascara or holds up to it? I actually don't at all. That one is so much better. In 5th place, we have an Essence Lash Princess mascara, and this is their False Lash Effect formulation. This has a natural wand with soft bristles, and the wand is actually tapered. So towards the tip, it gets a lot skinnier, and then as you get closer to the base, it does widen out a little bit, but I would say still, it's a pretty skinny mascara wand. And when it comes to all of our categories, the highlight for this mascara is definitely the amount of length that it adds to the lash. It adds so much, and it's actually kind of surprising since this is a natural wand, how much it truly adds, but I would give that a good 4.5 out of 5. For volume and separation, I would say 3.5 out of 5 for both of those. Not a ton of volume and also does not do the best job at preventing clumps. We do have a little bit of clumping going on there. I mean, clumping is going to happen with any mascara, but you'll see once we get to 1st place how well that one separates. Also, even though this wand is a lot skinnier than the CoverGirl mascara, because the bristles are even shorter, I think this has a really similar problem where it's very easy to get it smudged on the lash, so just be careful with that one too. In 4th place is the other Essence mascara called their Lash Princess Sculpted Volume Mascara, and this one also has a natural wand, but it does have a curve to it, so I'm not surprised that I like this one better. The thing about this is that the formulation is so wet. It's definitely too wet in my opinion, so I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. Honestly though, if you didn't wipe it off the wand, I would probably dock it more points, but if you just make sure to scrape off the wand either on the side of the mascara tube a little bit or with, you know, a little piece of toilet paper, a napkin or something, then I think it's perfect. But make sure to do that, otherwise it is too wet and definitely will get clumpy. I would give this the same score for length and volume, which is 4 out of 5. Not going to be perfect for volume for me because it is clumpy, so I wanted to make sure that when I'm ranking that, I'm taking that into consideration. If it's just clumpiness, that obviously is going to make it look like you have more volume, but it's not pretty volume, so I would give it a 4 out of 5 for that and a 3 out of 5 on separation because again, it does get pretty clumpy. I've always liked to use this kind of as a topper on other mascaras, and in that way it adds beautiful volume, and I think there's some really good qualities to it, but on its own, it can be a little bit tricky to work with. In 3rd place, we have the newest mascara out of all of these, which is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara. This is a plastic wand that is very skinny. It's probably the smallest out of all of these, and it has that kind of similar tapered look to it that the Essence mascara does, but it's also really flexible, which is actually my biggest complaint with this mascara because not only does that make it really easy to be sloppy with it and get smudges, but I find that if mascara wands are too flexible, then they don't separate as well as they could if they just had a little bit more rigidity to them. So if this just was a little bit stiffer, oh my gosh, this would be insane. But unfortunately, that makes it not the top mascara in this video. But other than that, it's really good in a lot of these other categories. So formula, I give a 4 out of 5. It's slightly too wet, but almost just right. And length, I would give a 5 out of 5 for sure. It adds so much length, which is amazing and definitely the star of the show here. I actually would give this a 4 out of 5 for volume, which I was not expecting when I first saw this wand. I thought it wasn't going to give me any volume at all, but it's kind of similar to this Essence Sculpted Mascara, where if you were to separate the clumps, it wouldn't be as voluminous as it looks. So I think that's slightly misleading, but still I would say 4 out of 5 there. And then for separation, I would give it about a 3.5 out of 5. It's not as clumpy as the Essence mascara, but still not the most separated. Again, if this was a little bit more stiff, I think it would be perfectly separated. So that is a bummer, but otherwise this is such a good mascara. In second place, we have the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. This has a natural wand and is also a copycat to the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I would say when we compare it to the Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift, let me pull that up quick. They're definitely not identical. Maybelline is longer for sure and has more of that kind of tapered center, whereas L'Oreal, which was this one, it's a little bit shorter and a little bit more consistent throughout, and definitely is the one that is more similar to Too Faced. This mascara is so good, and I was not surprised to see that it came out in second place because it truly is amazing across a lot of these categories. So formulation, in my opinion, perfect, 5 out of 5. Length, I would actually give a 4.5 out of 5. It adds a really good amount of length, which is surprising for a mascara like this. Volume, I would give a 4 out of 5. I think I definitely have mascaras that add more volume than this, but still gives a good amount of volume to the lash. And for separation, I would say 3.5 out of 5 because not super separated, but not the clumpiest of all time. And because I have only ever used this as a topper as well, which if you're confused by that, by the way, I have a video coming up soon where I'm going to be sharing all of my lash secrets with you guys, so stay tuned for that because I have a very specific method that I use for mascara application onto my eyelash, and that will make more sense in that video. So again, stay tuned for that, but because that's the only way I've ever used this mascara, I just wasn't expecting it to perform so well by itself, and it really, really does. So I would say that is what sets apart these kind of top 3 mascaras from the rest, is that on their own with 2 coats, they look amazing. And in first place, which should come as no surprise, what have I been saying forever? Best mascara of all time is Maybelline's Lash Sensational Mascara. Oh my gosh, I knew I loved this, and I think the proof is in the pudding here. This thing, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The wand is curved and it's plastic, and that combination, I don't know what it is or how it exactly does what it does on the lash, but a curved plastic wand, it's where it's at. I would give this perfect ratings in every category except for volume. So formula is a 5 out of 5, length is a 5 out of 5, volume I would give a 4 out of 5 because, I mean, with a plastic wand like this, you just can't get quite as much volume as you can with one that's a little bit fluffier. So I won't try to make it something that it's not, but still, it adds such good volume, and separation is a 5 out of 5 in my opinion here. Nothing is going to have literally not one single clump. That it's just not going to happen. But this is about as close as it gets, especially when we saw some of the other mascaras and how clumpy those got on the lash compared to this. So, oh my gosh. This is for sure the best drugstore mascara of all time, in my humble opinion. All right, you guys, that is officially it for this video. I really hope that you had fun hanging out with me today and that this was actually helpful for you. So when you are buying a drugstore mascara next time, you know exactly which one you would like to purchase, even if it's not my personal favorite. So if you disagree with me on any of these ratings or the way that I ranked them, that's totally fine. We don't all have to agree, and maybe these work differently for you than they did for me. I would be curious to hear that if that is the case, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with the ratings? Do you have a different drugstore mascara that you think is even better than the ones that I showed here? Let's all chat about drugstore mascara in the comments below, and if there is one that you're going to try out after watching this video, you have to let me know which one, and I will have them all listed in my description box below. And if you did find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and send my channel to a friend. All of those things really, really help me again, so thank you so, so much for that. But otherwise, my next video will be up in a few days, so stay tuned for that, and until then, I hope you have a great few days.